All right, on today's show, we're going to explore some important updates all around Facebook. Is Facebook use up or down? The headlines might tell you one thing, but the truth is a little bit different. We'll get into that. Also, Facebook admins are being removed from their own groups. We'll tell you why, so it doesn't happen to you. And a big change coming to the recommendation algorithm that could affect your content depending on where your followers and customers are in the world. My name is Jerry Potter, host of the Social Media Marketing Talk Show, a Social Media Examiner production where we break down all the latest social media news and what it means for marketers like you. And today I am joined by Mari Smith. Mari is the leading expert on Facebook marketing and author of The New Relationship Marketing. She's also a popular speaker and regular guest on the Social Media Marketing Podcast. Mari, welcome back to the show.
Hello, greetings. Thanks, Jerry. I'm happy to be here and dive into our favorite subject.
Yes. So Facebook and Meta had their Q2 earnings call, and there were some interesting insights that came out of that definitely affect marketers. So can you kind of share a little bit of what you got from that call?
Yes, indeed. So there was a new milestone reached at the end of 2022, and that was that Facebook, just Facebook, not the whole Meta platforms, but Facebook alone has reached 2 billion daily active users. So that was quite astonishing. And now we're seeing that number is up to 2.06, 2 quarters later. So about a 5% year over year increase. And what Zuckerberg was very, very adamant about anchoring, so we all know, is that DAUs, daily active users, are continuing to grow around the world, including in the US and Canada. And this has been a drum that I've been beating personally for many years. Like, do not let anyone say that Facebook is dead, Facebook is for old people, Facebook is dying. Nope, it's alive and kicking, and don't be given up too soon, as much as it can frustrate you, right?
Yeah.
The monthlies are up as well. A
Yeah. And
couple
I've
other things,
seen you
Jerry.
debunk
Oh, go ahead.
those headlines so many times where it's like, oh, well, Facebook is this and that. And this isn't what, a lot of times on these earnings calls, the companies will be very careful in the way that they word things. But
Yeah, of
this was
course.
daily active users. This wasn't like some of the other platforms will say monthly active users to make the numbers sound bigger.
Mhm,
And I think the
mhm.
monthly active users was 3 billion or something like that. Is that
That's
um
right. That's right.
yeah, which is unreal. So it's really cool to see that for sure.
Yeah, yeah, on Facebook alone. Really interesting, Jerry Zuckerberg also mentioned, of course, he's very much hammering home the Threads. He really wants Threads app. And of course, Reels are still performing. The Llama, the large language model, that they're breaking ground on it. And then he even said like some groundbreaking AI products in the pipeline. And he wanted us all to know for sure, the AI is their focus in the near term, and the metaverse, he still says the metaverse in the long term. And of course, being the year of efficiency, leaner organization, and the stock really popped up after that earnings call. And so, yeah, it's a leaner organization. They're building products with smaller teams. And the other thing too is that Zuckerberg has said that they're really pushing with like revolutionary AI. Their whole algorithm that's been out for decade plus is based on artificial intelligence. So they're going to be baking AI into everything that Meta offers and Meta Business Suite, and be able to just go in and tap a few buttons, put the right prompts in, and create video, audio, and text posts, and then schedule them. And he talks about agents that act as assistants and coaches, so on and so forth. So, quick sidebar on that: people can learn more. There's a conference Meta puts on called Meta Connect on September 27th. People can check that out. So it's free.
Yeah, it's unreal where everything is going, and definitely some other Facebook updates that we need to talk about today. Facebook will, of
Mhm.
course, continue to be a big topic of conversation at Social Media Marketing World, which is coming up again soon already. The place marketers go for quality training, actionable insights, and of course, to make genuine connections. People always rave about our experts and their willingness to help and attendees. They're hanging out in the hallways and chatting. Isn't it time to find out why Social Media Marketing World is such an amazing event? And that's what we hear from people that go there. If you want to get your ticket right now, you can go to socialmediamarketing.world, socialmediamarketing.world. So this was possibly the scariest story I've seen come out about Facebook. And it's essentially that group admins are being removed automatically. So for people that haven't seen this, explain exactly what's going on there, Mari.
What's interesting is this news broke. Well, not just news, but it started. There was rumblings happening as long as a year ago, and group admins were pretty freaked out. It was like, "What? No way, you can't do that. I've spent years and, a lot of money and effort and time building up this group. You can't just, like, take it over or point it to somebody else." And then I didn't hear anything about it for literally about a year, and then all of a sudden, to your
Hmm.
point, now it's coming back to the foreground again, and, this was happening where Facebook just would appoint a random new admin. It seems like now they're maybe, like, giving you a little bit of a notice, a heads up. I know Matt Navarra had tweeted out, someone from his community had a screenshot saying, we're getting this notification. I'm not seeing Facebook put any official notification out or announcement out. What it is Facebook's actually getting rid of, I hesitate to say this, but dead weight. They don't actually like groups that are just dormant, nothing's happening, it takes up resources. They'd rather that the original admin comes along and just archives it, or go ahead and re-engage it. So I got, basically 3 tips for anybody that's potentially facing this. Go call all your groups, every group that you've ever started that you're an admin of. Ensure right away for sure that you have a one backup admin. Assign a
Hmm.
backup admin, someone that you know, someone in your team, a colleague, a friend, whatever it might be, someone you trust. Alternatively, if you're like, well, you would do that anyway. I would just recommend that as a best practice. You want to do that in your pages as well, of course, and just check and see. You might have an old group being like, oh my gosh, yeah, I really don't need this anymore, but I might resurrect it later and I don't want to lose it to some random admin. So go ahead and archive it yourself. The third option is go ahead and just re-engage dormant groups. I'm saying third option, do the one backup for sure, and then either archive or re-engage dormant groups. But yeah, it could happen that Facebook's all of a sudden going to pop up a notice on one of your groups that hasn't had a lot of activity for, it's not like a matter of weeks or months. We're talking probably a year or more. You know how there's those groups that us marketers term pop-up groups? They're like for a limited finite use,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
maybe, for a course or whatever, or a challenge. Facebook doesn't call them pop-up groups. They don't really like them. Internally, I've heard that they literally call them empty houses because they'll pop up and then it's done. And
Yeah.
so I think that's this whole admin thing is like, I think they're trying to shake us up a bit and go, "Hey, don't just have these empty houses or dormant groups. Either archive them yourself or get to activating them." It's probably goes
Yeah.
hand in
Well,
hand with that at everyone tag, right? Which is the whole other annoying thing.
yes.
And I hear that at followers is coming now too. So anyway,
Yes. Yeah, the group thing, I think the scariest part is, as you said, Facebook hasn't said anything official about
yeah,
it. People are just seeing this
right,
pop up. And the fact that it's
yeah,
only 6 days, like if it popped up while you were on holiday or vacation for a week, it's like, oh my God, they just took my
yeah,
group away. So you think it's
yeah.
primarily likely to pop up for groups that are active among the members, but the admin's not doing anything?
Oh, that's a great question, Jerry. And I would just have to put my best educated guess and say
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
It's they want activity in groups, period. It's not like the admin themselves has to be constantly engaging and posting, but for sure have yourself at least one good backup admin, and assigning moderators and using their other labels like, what did they have one? It's called expert, group expert, and different things like that. I'll just show Facebook and maybe even the chats. They love us to use those chats. I personally don't care for them, but too many places to look at. But the more you can embrace the features that Facebook offers, the more they see, okay, all right, you're in here and you're doing stuff, but the admin themselves doesn't have to be active every single day or risk losing their group. That's not going to happen.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And that's great advice for pages too. Obviously, have a backup admin, even if it's your significant other, somebody you trust.
Mhm.
Obviously, that's not going to take your page away. But I always warn
Yeah.
people, I'm like, but if it is somebody that's not involved, make sure you show them how to turn off all the notifications so they don't go crazy with all of the
Yes.
emails and notifications that pop up from that stuff.
Good
So,
tip. Yeah.
so you were mentioning a minute ago about how AI is just going to get, integrated in everything. Meta is going full force with this. However, something
Mhm.
that's a little bit opposite that is happening in Europe right now. Basically, they're going to have an option where you can turn off the recommendation engine in Europe to
Mm.
basically meet new government guidelines. Is that right?
It is correct. Yeah, and the deadline was August 25th or something, so many tech companies, not just Facebook. So Meta, basically Facebook and Instagram, TikTok has already made some changes, and I say honestly, hats off to Europe for taking on big tech. And if we go step back for a second here, the reasoning behind this, of course, these social platforms, tech companies, they're gathering inordinate amounts of data on us. And so then they're trying to basically get inside of our heads and know us even better than we know ourselves and predict what content we might like. And that's all artificial intelligence. It's AI powered. It's been around for a while. It's what made TikTok so incredibly successful. The For You section or For You page, your feed is just so beautifully curated. I'm not a TikToker, but I understand. I hear, I know about it, of course, being a social media industry expert. But that's what made TikTok so successful because it's addictive. You go in there like, oh my God, you see another one. Oh my gosh, I love this. I
Yes.
love this. And before you know it, you're scrolling and scrolling and consuming inordinate amounts of content. That's exactly what Meta blatantly copied for both Facebook and Instagram. They call it their discovery engine or recommendation engine, you might hear it called. And Zuckerberg proudly says, Adam Mosseri, head of Instagram, roughly 20% of the content you see in your feeds is from unconnected sources, right? So there's connected, which is your friends and your accounts and your pages. You've absolutely chosen proactively, I want to follow these, I want to see these posts. But unconnected is totally random. You never heard of them, don't know them. And for a lot of people, I've heard some pushback, that's like, what's all this random stuff in my feed? Some people saying it's boring or it's not appropriate, or they have some interest that I don't know how Facebook's gotten this for me. And so what the
Mhm.
DSA is the Digital Services Act in the European Union has basically said, you know what, you can't come along and use all that personal data to predict what people are going to want. Give them a choice. Let them be able to just flip a switch and say, don't give me all this predictive content thinking you can guess what I want. Give me the choice to say, I want to follow these people and see their content. Now, the thing is, it's actually a little bit buried, but both Facebook and Instagram do give you a choice. They have the favorites. You have you can do your chronological feed or your favorites on Instagram. Facebook has a bunch of other feeds where you can see just posts from groups, just posts from friends, just posts from pages. It's a little bit buried. Most people don't really know where to find it. But in any case, bottom line with this topic here, Jerry, is absolutely the Digital Services Act has got really pioneering new regulations. It's saying, look, don't be forcing people into this personalized content. There's more to it than that too, as well. I understand it's to do with ads, of like personalization with ads, certainly for
Mhm.
minors, making it easier to report content and then letting people know why something might be reported. So it's a big topic, and honestly, I was really loving the headlines around this, where it was like, European Union takes on or Europe takes on big tech, and dot dot dot. Does this mean will changes also be coming to the United States? It might be a long time coming, but I rather hope it sets a bit of a precedent. I'm just a bit tired, like so many other folks, where we're just really kind of pawns and puppets in this big mix, and give users a choice. Stop manipulating people.
Yeah. Well, so do you know or do we know yet? Because on TikTok was one of the other platforms that is doing this for Europe, where you can turn off
That's
the
right.
algorithm on TikTok, which is
Mhm.
an even bigger change for them. And they
Yeah.
said that you will see popular content in your region and in your language, is what they said. Do we know what this unregulated feed will look like on Facebook?
A little bit. I know, Nick Clegg did a whole PR, he works with Meta, he did a whole PR post about it, and we don't quite know what it'll look like. He did a whole, like, discussion of, what they're calling a non-personalized feed. The other thing to note is search as well. I don't think people even realize this when they go to do a search on Facebook or Instagram. It is algorithmically controlled, right? It's not like
Mhm.
it's just everything is fed through these interests and topics and any behavior, like anything that you've ever done, including your direct messages, anything on any Meta platform is this giant repository of data on each and individual user. So then it's like, okay, Jerry just did a search on this. Let's show him this bunch of information versus someone else. Mari's done this search. Let's show her this. They call it the filter bubble. There's a great like TED talk and book all about that, isn't there? forgetting the guy's name right now, but it's the filter bubble. It absolutely not only happens on Google, it happens on all these social platforms too.
Hmm. That'll be interesting
Um,
to see because obviously on Facebook, people follow and are connected with more people versus TikTok, where some people have never followed anybody on TikTok,
yeah,
right? And
that's
so
right.
that's why it was really interesting to see. Okay, what is this algorithmically controlled feed? Or it probably will be an algorithm. It just won't be quite so personalized in that way. It sounds
Right,
like.
but to your point with TikTok, they can pull from local and then yeah, and just based on well, it's not supposed to be based on previous videos you've watched, but yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah. So, video. Speaking of video, you and I both
Mhm.
probably famously remember when Mark Zuckerberg came out and said, "In 5 years, Facebook will be almost all video." And I think it was more
That's
than
right.
5 years ago now that he said that. But they obviously keep moving in this direction, and recently have been leaning finally further into Reels and making them easier to make. And so, what are some of these
Mm.
updates we're seeing around video on Facebook that marketers should be aware of?
Well, first of all, I think most of us that make videos on our phones in app, the features that are baked into the app, Instagram has been way ahead of the game always. It's like you go to do something and it's just much more intuitive. It's just lots of extra features. Finally, they've brought a lot of that over to the Facebook native Reels maker. Audio, music, text, it's all in one place with your Reels. You can, do layering and creative elements. I don't know about you, Jerry. Hats off to creators out there who are all in on video and then really get off on doing their mobile and creative stuff. I don't have the time of day to do all that in depth. I'd rather make it on a desktop video and then load it up or have someone else do it for me. But
Yeah.
now these tools are also available inside of Meta Business Suite for Reels. And the big shift is that these tools are these native video editing tools, audio, music, text, layers, and all that are also available in feed videos. So if you just go to your regular profile and just going to post a video on your wall, and then it's not obvious because it's just one little edit button in the top left corner of your video you've just uploaded on your phone, it'll say edit, and boom, you'll see all you can add GIFs and text and overlays and trimming and whatever you want to do, add music. And so that's quite cool. I think that's great. And just things like voiceovers, enhanced audio. The main thing here, is that Facebook is absolutely just trying to get us to post more video and feed videos. A lot of people are just haven't figured out Reels and don't quite know how to get to them or how to make them. They can consume them because they're just
Yeah.
shoved right into our feed on the horizontal scroll or swipe. But once you tap in, you can go vertical. But I think, the vast majority of users are super familiar with how to create a main feed video. And so the idea here is if you're doing some short form video on your feed, it's not in the actual Reels format, then they can just go ahead and Meta, Facebook can go ahead and make that format just all merged into one. Actually, similar. Remember on Instagram, they had like so many different video formats, and it was getting confusing, and all the different tabs and destinations. And
IGTV
then
and
they just
yeah.
went, yeah, IGTV, exactly. And so now they're just like, okay, everything, any video you upload on Instagram goes into the Reels tab, no matter what length, what format. Well, I see they're doing something similar with Facebook, right? They did away with Watch. Remember the Watch platform? That's all
Mhm.
just the tab is just now a tab called video. It's specifically, we're talking specifically for mobile, but it's also desktop too. But we'll see. I think they're just doing everything they can. Facebook Meta, doing everything they can to get users to produce more short form video content and just real easy to use different features. And then another little segment right there is that they're making it easier for people to engage with Instagram Reels on Facebook without leaving Facebook. I think before you tapped it and it would say view on Facebook or view on Instagram.
Yeah.
Now it's like because they keep pushing it over, right? They're basically owned by the same company, so why not? They're kind of cross posting whether you want it to or not. They're like suggested over there. It's just anything to get more eyeballs engaging on these because they've got to have places to put their ads in.
Yeah. You bring up a great point too about how reels are probably the easiest content to consume. But
Yeah.
I think that the perception from the consumer side and even from the marketer side is it's the hardest to create. And I actually just released a video this week about why reels are so intimidating. And I think it's because
Mm.
when you first open any of these short form video feeds, you're literally being served some of the most amazing,
Yeah.
creative videos in the world, And so I kind of
Yeah.
equate it to where you're like, you go and you watch a bunch of, I don't know, Oscar nominated films or, $200 million blockbuster movies. And then you're like, oh, now I got to make my family vacation video. This is not going to live up to that, right? It's very intimidating. And so I encourage people, I'm like, you just got to start putting stuff out there, because everything that I've seen and from everybody I work with, if you're saying the right thing, the edits do not matter in these videos.
That's a really good point. Yeah, it's about content. It's something compelling, the opening segment being very compelling the first 3 seconds. And Facebook's always said that, no matter, even before Reels, they always said 3 seconds is your limit to just grab people's attention. So, but yeah, that's a really good point. I love watching ones that have such creative transitions and like massive costume changes or scene changes for a transition. And I'm just like, that probably took a whole day to make that 10-second thing.
Yep. Yep. And that's the case. Although tech is making it much, much easier, obviously, as some of these AI video editing tools and things like that. So one of the big things,
Yeah.
going forward, content is obviously still important and it needs to be compelling, but consumers are getting more savvy, I think, as they see ads that feel like ads. And so these brand partnerships are something that continues to be effective, and I think becomes more effective because they keep giving us more tools. So what's the latest
Mm.
on that kind of content in the ad space in Facebook and in all of that world?
What's really cool, so for the longest time, Facebook has had this thing called like brand collabs. There's like it's a section, you probably would find it inside of your Meta Business Suite. It used to live in Creator Studio, but there's a place where actually brands can say, any brand, businesses any size, can put it out there that they're looking for influencers, creators to work with, and then also you can kind of have an optimized brand collab profile, that kind of thing. The next iteration of what they've done just recently is really cool. Is there's a new branded content search function in the ads library. So first of all, the ads library, for folks that might not know, it's a major handy tool for marketers. You can go, ever since a few years ago now, maybe I want to say like 2016, 17, when
Mhm.
Facebook made it publicly visible what ads people were running. It's not always obvious how to get there, but you can go and look at any page on Facebook and see what ads are running. Now they've kind of blended the two, and with the ads and the branded content, people working with influencers doing basically a paid partner. You'll see the little label across any kind of content. Often it'll be video. This is a paid partnership with so and so. So honestly, I think it's a super useful, great addition. You could, as a brand, you could actually really easily find some influencers that way. I
Mhm.
personally did a random search, Jerry, and I found Mariah Carey had partnered up with influencer doing plus size Barbie lingerie. I saw Nicki Minaj
Wow.
has not like these are, I like Mariah Carey, Nicki Minaj. It's just random things that popped up for me. Has a
Yeah.
video game. And I saw 2 reels and a video from 3 different paid partners that she's working with. And then, like, on the big brand side, I saw that Nike, it showed clearly Nike working with CNN, and then a company called Well and Good, and a wellness and media company. Amazon had some. I saw they're partnering with OWN, the Oprah Winfrey Network, and Refinery 29. So it shows you, the reason I'm rattling off those names is you can see this is a brand and these are the paid partners they're working with, and it literally says view post, and you can click through and see, to your point about them, it's really is user generated content. Yeah, some of these are brands partnering with other big brands, but then others, like the ones I mentioned with Mariah Carey or Nicki Minaj, it's like just everyday creators. So it's a cool feature,
Yeah.
and definitely dabble around with it, see what you can find.
Yeah, well, I love the fact that it's also, like the ads library in general, it can be used for inspiration. And I know
Yeah.
for a lot of marketers and companies, they're like, yeah, I'd like to collaborate. I don't know what we would do or how we would
Mm.
do it. And so this is an
Mhm.
opportunity to go and see. And certainly, if I'm a smaller agency and I can see how CNN and Nike are collaborating with their, multi-million or billion-dollar agencies, it's like those are probably going to be some pretty good, well-researched ideas. So I think that's a cool opportunity
Exactly.
as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
So,
agreed. Mhm.
well, it's hard to believe that social media marketing world is coming up again. If you want to see all the pros we have lined up, like Mari Smith, you can just go to socialmediamarketing.world to learn more and grab your all access ticket. That's socialmediamarketing.world. And Mari, where can we learn more about you?
Oh, my Facebook page at Mari Smith, or pretty much anywhere online, marismith.com, my Social Scoop Facebook group. And I'm very much looking forward to coming back to Social Media Marketing World, speaking there for the nth time. I can't even remember how many years it's been. I've been there every single year. It's a great, great honor. And I will fly the Facebook flag. And we got some really fun topic coming up about Facebook and AI. Look forward to that. Thanks for having
this
me,
will be
Jerry.
the 11th year. So that'll be great. And if you're looking to add another
Yeah.
podcast to your listening lineup, two for you to check out. One, the Social Media Marketing Podcast, and also the Marketing Agency Show, our newer show specifically for agency owners and people that work at agencies. You can find those in your favorite podcasting apps. Until next time, may you be wise with your marketing decisions. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.